Good afternoon, Nigeria. You are welcome to another edition of that program that we call Ogun Mantra. What is Ogun Mantra? It's about the principal performance of the Ogun State government. What is the principal performance? They'll say their social contract, what the government, the activities of the government of Ogun has done, is doing within the period. That's what we look at. Remember that the current administration led by Prince Dapo Abiodun went on this mantra of Isheya, which is infrastructure, social development, education, youth, and agriculture. That's where the acronym of Isheya comes out. This morning, today, sorry, we'll be looking at the S in the Isheya, and of course, we will also look at the Y there. Of course, you can also claim the S to go not just for social development, for sports, which is also key in social development anywhere in a community setup. My name is DELE Ayodo. And quickly this afternoon, I have with me again seasoned reporter, somebody who monitors, reports, sees it as it is happening. He is the state chairman of the Correspondent Chapel and, of course, the zonal editor of the Business Day newspaper, Prince Rasaq Ayinla. You are welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. It's nice to be here again. Good afternoon, our viewers.
All right, yes, let's go straight on, Razak. Recently, within this week, the Ogun State government announced that it was going to assist the 236 political constituency in the state. Of course, we have 236 councillors, each representing each ward. Constituency projects. Constituency projects has always become story, a word for different meaning. People will say it's a pipeline for politicians to take funds away. People will say it's a means for them to cheat us. People will say it's the cover cloth for so many times. Of course, constituency projects actually is those projects that is attracted to develop that community. Clear the air on this announcement from the state government.
If you look at Nigerian constitutions, you agree with me that it recognizes three tiers of government. And under the federation, when we have three tiers of government, that is the federal, state, and local government, then there must be an arm that is saddled with lawmaking. And for the lawmaking, three things come to play. If you are talking about lawmaking, we refer to the National Assembly, State Assembly, or the councillors in local council. What they are doing at the National Assembly is the same thing with what they are doing in local government. They are for lawmaking. Of course, they make bylaws at the local level. They also
Sorry, Razak, because I need to also introduce or also add that so that people will understand when you are quoting
the point
the law,
of view
so that they won't say. So Razak Ayinla is also a lawyer. Now that you talk about bylaw, Razak, does it really function, or is it just a perfunctory, generic step
it
from
depends
local
on the
government? Does it
perspective you are
work, the
looking at.
bylaws?
Bylaws worked in is still working at the local government level, despite the fact that there are what we call overlapping function from the state assembly. Whether we like it or not, we still have some of the areas that they are making law and still working. For instance, as far as local roads, we are talking about management of traffic on the local road. Some local governments are having traffic managers who are appointed by local government. This is part of what they are doing at local government level. They have in charge of our chieftaincy affairs, and of course they are making law. Of course, when as paramount as Alake Egba land, whenever anything wants to be done, as far as Alake is concerned, it will be done by Abeokuta local government.
You know why I ask this? It's a necessary digression.
I understand.
Actually,
I understand. I understand you. I understand.
It's a necessary digression.
I understand.
Right now in Ogun State, you agree with me that the menace of land grabbers, the crisis from Omonile, is becoming worrisome and disturbing. Why is it that local council laws can't resolve it, can't handle it if we are talking about
The
bylaws?
local council law
Because these lands
may
are
not undo it, because according to the Land Use Act 1978, the power to allocate and the power to own, to exercise ownership on land, resides in the office of Mr. Governor. So it is the governor that's in charge of that. And when we talk about the governor, we are talking about the states. So all lands are under the state. That's the reason you will not see local government making law in that regard, because all lands it's under the purview of the state government according to the Land Use Act. So that's the reason you may not see local government performing in that regard, because it is solely the function of the state government, which is headed by Mr. Governor. So
is it giving us results?
I think if you don't get results in that regard, it will show the what I would call the effectiveness of such a government. So that if that government is effective enough, they will contact, they will definitely contact the concerned security agents to ensure that the law is implemented, to ensure that anybody that found wanting is arrested and prosecuted. But in the case of Ogun State, I want to believe that it's more political than legal, because whether we like it or not, people are the one that elected Mr. Governor, and for him to do anything contrary, he need to consult widely from those that brought him to the office, for all the society leaders, community leaders, and all that. So he doesn't want to step on toes. And of course, this is time to do that, because if you are still looking in that regard, then you may not do anything tangibly. So whether you like it or not, people are the one that voted you in. They expect good governance, and part of good governance is to administer them well. And part of administration that you must do is to ensure that there is a security of life and property. And if you allow this Omonile to just be taking over land, it will resort to criminality.
Because they can also become non-state actors.
That is what I'm saying. So you don't need that. You are in second term, and of course, the government must be very firm, because whether we like it or not, you can't go to poll again as Mr. Governor. Rather, you are going to exit very soon. So you need to do everything possible to ensure that you leave landmark results on ground before you go. So having said that, I want to back to what I was saying earlier on. If you look at the function of local government councillors, they are making bylaws, they are overseeing. They are performing oversight function, and at the same time, they are facilitating consulting projects. And that is what they do at National Assembly. That is what they do at the State Assembly. So if they are doing that in local government, it is part and parcel of their functions according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So what they are doing, it is good, and they will continue to be doing it. But why they are not doing it, or why they are evasive all this while, is because of the fact that there are a lot of overlapping functions from the state government. I want to remember a particular local government in Abeokuta when Olusegun Osunbagbo was there in 1999, called Abeokuta Local Government. We had a man called Daddy Bolawon, who performed wonderfully well, because of the fact that at that time local government were absolutely independent of the state government. They were getting their revenues allocation directly from the federal government, and they were adjudicating and spending it wisely. So, but in this case, it is not like that, because the money allocation that is coming to the local government in every state of federation, almost every federation, comes through the state government. So whether you like it or not, it didn't start from this government. I remember at during the time of Amosun, immediate part government in Ogun State, Amosun went to the state assembly to ensure that there was a act of parliament to ensure that there's a joint finance of projects between the local government and the state government. And that was the beginning of the crisis, because if you are to infuse local government function and state government function together, you can't get it rightly. And that is what actually happened during that. So this government started well by following this laid down rule and regulation. And that's the reason you could see that they established what we call JAC, That is Joint Account Allocation Committee, for which the state and local government administer and allocate the revenue coming from federal government on allocation, so to say, coming from federal government to the state, to the local government. So if Mr. Governor is not saying that he's going to allow the 236 councillors to perform constructive projects, it is commendable. Though some people will say, why will he be releasing money if they are not his appointed councillors?
That's the question, because as laudable as this may be, there are insinuations.
Definitely, there will be insinuations.
I've heard people say that this is a result of the crisis that happened sometime during the year between the chairman of Ijebu East, the state government, and others. What's your position on this?
Whether we like it or not, if you look at it legally, what Mr. Governor is doing is very, very in order. And of course, we all usually say
in order, that is the one that
I am coming to that, okay. Sir. In law, we usually say that there's a clear-cut difference between what we call morality, politics, and law. Law is law once it is made. Once that has passed through the state assembly, that there will be a joint finance of the projects, that makes it a law. Except that is repealed or amended by maybe local government or state government, it remains law and nothing changes it. So that is on that. That is what the government is trying, is being empowered to do what it's doing, because there's a particular act of parliament that is supporting its action. So that is for law. But politically, people will read meaning to it, that, oh, if not because of the fact that this guy raised alarm that something was going on wrongly in local government, Mr. Governor wouldn't have done something like this. And it also queries the position of councillor, that were they appointed or elected? Were they independent or dependent? So these are what will come up when we are talking about political issue, when we are looking at it from political angle. But if you look at it from legal angle, what Mr. Governor is doing is very much in order. And when we put politics, law, morality side by side, law will take a course. And that is why I'm saying that what he's doing is it's right legally. And of course, if you have to change that, you need to go to state assembly to ensure that that is repealed for you to be independent of the state government.
All right, if you are just joining us, this is NSTV, and the program is called Ogun Mantra. Ogun Mantra is about the activities of the government of Ogun State, currently led by Prince Dapo Abiodun. Of course, the mantra is Isheya, ISEYA, which stands for Infrastructure, Sports and Social Development, Education, Youth, and Agriculture. We are picking the S in there today, and that's why I have with me, it's not just a lawyer, he's a journalist and chairman of the Ogun State Correspondent Chapel, Rasaq Ayinla. Rasaq, the reaction of the main opposition party, the PDP, to this is that what the governor or the state government is doing is feeding the person, a patient with headache with a medicine for stomach ache. In other words, the governor is allocating wrong projects to them, because he's the one and it should have been vice versa. They should be the one who should handle, control, and do everything. How do you see this?
No matter the political insinuations and political statement coming from opposition parties, the fact still remains that you cannot change this, because unless there is what we call a private bill being sent to the state assembly, or an executive bill being sent to the state assembly to repeal such law, that there shouldn't be anything called JAC, that's Joint Account Allocation Committee, because once you have had JAC, it is the what we call is a byproduct of law. It's a byproduct of act of parliament at the state level, which they have been allowed to do, because there is what we call residual legislative list, for which they are empowered to do it. So until they can go to state assembly and say this law should be repealed, even if you are crying foul till tomorrow. It doesn't hurt or remove anything from what Mr. Governor is doing, because there is act of parliament that's allow him to administer fund for all local governments through the minister, the commissioner for finance, as well as the commissioner for local government and citizens affairs, because they are part and parcel of the jack. So once that is, and all the 20 local government chairmen, on that is still subsisting, or once that is still active in Ogun State, even if PDP cried it tomorrow, it will not have any impact on what
Rasaq, I'm now actually not qualified to talk law with you, argue issues.
you are qualified
on
because
the point of law. Let's look at what we are discussing from the point of what, again, in the social circle called dividends of democracy.
Definitely.
Dividends of democracy is providing your people with what they need. They should benefit from the government. If you didn't give them as a government what they need, if what you are giving them is not what they deserve or demand, can we say that is dividend? Is that on that system? Is that something? Is something not wrong?
If you are to compare the government of Otumba Daniel, if you are to compare the government of Ibikunle Amosun, if you are also to compare the government of Dapo Abiodun with all divisions of allowing the councillors to facilitate constituency projects to their, of course, this one it's unprecedented if you look at what is happening in Ogun State, because all over time you will see that even during the Daniel administration, it is the local government chairmen that are allowed to do some projects. That was why you saw someone like Abibu Ajayi doing some roads in Abeokuta North during OGD government. So it was the chairman that took over everything, even if they are allowed to do any project at the community level. But now, for the first time in long years, for the first time in history of Ogun State, looking at this this template, I'm talking about the political era, a councillor is allowed to give a particular project that is going to do for his wards at his own community. This is not happening. So we need to commend the guy, even if he's doing it wrongly politically, but it's legally correct. But politically, people will read meaning to it that what he's doing is not good, because he's just putting all this councillor under him and local government under him, which should be separated. But it's a way of giving back to people. It's a way of telling all the councillors to go and do projects in all their wards, making 206 wards. So once a project or two is done in a ward, that is telling you that we are having all the 236 being covered with different projects at a go. So it has not been happening in Ogun State. We need to commend this man with all if you have to look at it from all angles, political, legal, economy, moral. This is happening for the first time in Ogun State, and we need to commend him.
All right, interesting that the government of the day in Ogun State needs to be commended. That's the submission of my guest, Rasaq Ayinla. Of course, translating it means everybody, your community, because all of us belong to one particular ward.
Definitely.
We have something
Definitely
to benefit if all the wards are to be given something. That's good to say. Yes, sir, let me remind you, it's still NSTV. We are viewable on all the social media platforms. You can also join us online. The telephone number will be displayed on your screen very soon. We've been looking at the social development aspect of the Ogun Mantra, which is the name of the program. Let's move for something that's still the S. We are talking about sports. So many of us, particularly the younger ones, the youths in particular, will be interested in this. About 19 years ago, 2005 precisely, Ogun hosted for the first time. 2005, I'm correct, yeah. Ogun hosted for the first time, so it will be 18 years, okay. The National Sports Festival. It was a glorious outing. Ogun hosted well and also performed well by records. I think they came third overall with the hall, medal hall. 2024, Ogun State has also been penciled down to be the host of the National Sports Festival. A committee is already on, chaired by a former commissioner for youth and sports in the state, and of course a member of the Nigerian Football League, also of course an active sports person, Honorable Bukola Olopade, the one we call Ozogula, is the chairman of that committee. You've been around, you go around. It's we are counting months now. We are counting months to that. What are you seeing? Can Ogun host and host well?
We can definitely host and host well. I want to, since 1999, this is going to be the second time that we are hosting National Sport Festival. And of course, coincidentally, this has been done under two governors that are coming from the same region in Ogun State. We are talking about
Does it speak anything?
Does
that speak anything?
Daniel did
you know better than I do. Does that speak anything?
And of course, that Wabiodun coming from the same region doing that. It's unfortunate that our own people that actually come from where I come from, my own region, that's Ogun Central. I'm talking about Oshoba, did nothing in that regard as far as sport is concerned, because it was not one of his blueprints. We understand the fact that Baba did rural development during that time and all that. It wasn't his blueprint. The same thing with Bikula Amosu from Central. He did not do anything tangible.
That means the Central people are not sporty.
We are sporty. He's not the man that's.
So I said, does that mean?
No, it doesn't mean. The man that championed everything, Bukola Olopade, is from Central. As a matter of fact, is from the same place where I come from. So that is telling you that we need to support each other to ensure that this is done. But I'm only saying that coincidentally, two of them that actually did this thing came from the same region, for which it was done and marshaled by somebody, a man from Central. So that tells you that we need to join hands together to ensure that this is done. The same thing, Osogla is called again to also share this.
He played the active, of course, at the Commissioner for Sports.
That's definitely. And yesterday, a member of our members of the sports associations went to Ikene, went to Shagamu for preparation towards next year, because they are looking at all the facilities. They came from the the Federal Ministry of Sport to look at what we have on ground for us to host, and of course they suggested a lot of things.
So what do we have on ground?
We have 4 stadia on ground, and of course if we have MK Abiola International Stadium Kuto in Abeokuta, that's Abeokuta, that's Ogun Central. We have Shagamu Stadium, that's Ogun East. Of course, we also have Ijebu Stadium, that's Ogun East too. Then we have Ilaro Stadium, that is Ogun West. So the 4 of them are enough for us. And of course, we also have a sports center at Ijeja in Ogun Central, that's Abeokuta. So the 5 of them now, they are enough to host world, not even national, world. They need to improve on them and try to improve, revamp them, so that we have what it takes to host National Sports Festival. So in Ogun State, we are qualified to host, and of course we have a lot of people that are. You see, Falele Ogunkoya is one of the committee that doing that. Look at what Falele Ogunkoya did in 1996 Olympic, and some other people like that who are coming on board to ensure that, of course, Kunle Shoname is one of them that are coming on board to be part of it. The Remo Stars. So people are coming on board to ensure that we join hands together from Ogun Central, Ogun East, Ogun West, Yewa, Egba, Ijebu, and Remo. So let's come together. Let's just forget about what has happened. Let's forget about what happened in the last election. Election has come and gone. So everybody would need to join hands to ensure that Ogun State is great and greater, or even the greatest.
All right, Rasaq, sports is one of the things that makes sports real good is that the public ignites it. Every sports needs what they call the spectators to be there. That's one of the beauty. That's what excites there. How do you want to rate? What do you want to say about carrying the people? Yes, it is true that some people will come from other cities. It's a national sports festival, but it is expected that a larger percentage of the crowd will be home base. What is on ground? What is the state government doing to ensure that the people, the public, participate?
The state government is doing a lot of things to ensure that that is done. But even first and foremost, I think they need to work on the media and publicity of this, because why are you not using the homegrown media strategist to ensure that all is well? You don't go and import those that are not on ground, those that don't know what it takes to do something like that in Ogun State. I think they should relate more with the local media because they know where shoe pinches. And of course, by so doing that, we are going to have a mixture of local and, of course, a national or even
It's a
international
national
media.
event, but
So,
then that's why we have
but,
the LOC.
but you need to do a kind of, you have to start from home because what something actually happened yesterday when they went to inspect all the facilities on ground. They were calling the media in Ogun State, members of the Sports Association, at the 11th hour, for we shouldn't be. They should be carried along on whatever they want to do because they are the first people to tell the whole world.
That's why we have the local organizing committee.
That's what we do, but they are not doing fine. They are not doing fine. The local organizing committee are not doing fine. But that is not the blame to be put on the doorstep of Mr. Governor because he has given them, he has appointed them, and he expects them to do what is normal. And we need to tell them. We need to tell them more. And we need to ask them to do what is normal. And what is normal is to ensure that everybody is carried along. Everybody is carried along. So that will help us to do the best and memorable national sports festival.
All right, I hope we have been able to carry you along on the program Ogun Mantra today on NSTV. Yes, we are on all the social media platforms. You can view us even well after this. A big thank to my brother, chairman, correspondent Chapel, is also a lawyer, Rasaq Ayinla. Now, of course, to the entire production team, Victor and the rest, I say a big thank you to all of you. DELE Ayodo is my name.